Good day, class. My name is Mrs. Osman Mariam, your regular commerce teacher. I hope we all enjoyed the last lessons. Today again, I'm here and I'm going to be taking us through the topic occupation. When we hear the word occupation, what does it mean to us? Occupation generally involves all economic or productive activities which people engage in to create and procure goods and services in order to make a living. They involve all forms of activities, all forms of economic and productive activities which people, individuals like you and I, engage in to create. Create means turning raw materials into finished or semi-finished goods, or procure those goods from those who are producing them and services in order to make a living. Here you can see some of the different occupations we have. We have the engineer, we have bankers, medical director, we have those who are working in the sites. So occupation is classified into three different classifications. One, we have the industry. Second, we have commerce. And thirdly, we have service. So when we talk about industry, what do we mean? Industry is actually talking about all activities geared towards the production of goods and services, which could be either extraction, manufactured, or construction. So those activities could come in three different forms: extraction, manufacturing, construction, and construction. It involves those who engage in physical production of goods and services to change raw materials into finished or semi-finished goods. And we have different types of industrial occupation. We have extractive, just like I have mentioned earlier. We have constructing, we have manufacturing, which we're going to be taking one after the other. I have a short clip here for us on extraction.
Building long-term infrastructure projects that serve their operations exclusively. To the sustainable development of the host country of the mining industry. For example,
So I also have another video which you're going to watch much later. So let's take them one after the other. The extractive occupation, what are they into? They are those who actually extract raw materials, just like the way they are. When we mean raw materials, we're talking about natural resources from either soil or sea. You can see a picture of these people digging the soil. They are trying to extract something from the soil. So examples of products that we extract are cocoa, cotton, iron ore, crude oil, and so on. And those who are engaged in this kind of occupation are farmers, fishermen, miners, those who are working in quarry, and so on. So when we talk about extraction has to do with those set of people. Then manufacturing occupation now. You can see a picture of some people who are actually trying to use some raw materials they got in. They are trying to transform them into finished or semi-finished goods. Manufacturing majorly is concerned with the activities of those who engaged in processing and turning raw materials produced into primary industry into finished goods. In the primary industry into finished goods. They engaged in utilizing or using raw materials to produce finished goods. We have different types of examples under the manufacturing occupation. We have the shoemakers who are into shoemaking, the food processors, those who are into food processing that we eat. We have companies like Dangote. We have so many companies like that. Then we have plastic processing companies. We have Dunlop. We have so many other companies like that. So let's move on to the construction part, which is constructive occupation. When we talk about constructive occupation, it is majorly concerned with all activities of those who engaged in assembling goods manufactured into usable forms. They engaged in constructing roads, bridges, houses, and so many others. Under this, we have the site engineers, we have the civil engineers, we have so many people under this particular category. So usually all the various components extracted and manufactured are converted into usable forms. Examples of constructive occupations are airport construction, bridge construction. We have the goldsmiths too, yes, on this page. So let's move on to the commerce part of the categories of occupation. So when we talk about commerce, commerce can simply be defined as all those activities in the distribution and exchange of goods and services. Commerce majorly is the act of buying, selling, exchange, and distribution of goods and services. Definition of commerce is incomplete without the buying and selling of goods and services. Majorly, commerce deals with various activities which enables the produced goods to reach the final consumer. We have other categories under this too. We have examples of workers under this category. So for commercial occupations, it actually involves people who are into the distribution and exchange of these produced goods. And examples of workers who falls under this category are bankers. Bankers render services to people. We have transporters, they render services to people. We have traders, they sell to people. We have insurers, we have advertisers, we have importers, exporters, and so many other, even warehousing too. Yes, we have that under this category. So moving on, let's go to services or service occupation. You know, earlier I mentioned that we have 3 categories of occupation, which are the commerce, we have industry, and service occupation. So now we are under the service occupation. So what do we mean by service occupation? Really, service occupation are sometimes classified as tertiary occupation. What does that mean to us? It means these are occupations that render services to people. Services that involves doing some things for the consumers, which could be personal or indirect services. Meanwhile, when you are rendering these services, you are getting paid. But services could be a direct one or indirect services. So let's talk about the types of service occupation we have. We have two major types of service occupation. So firstly, we have the direct service. We have the indirect services. So when we talk about the direct services, what does it mean? Direct services include personal services rendered to direct consumption, rendered to direct consumers, and are paid for directly by those, and they are paid directly rather. They are paid directly to those who enjoy those services. Direct, from the word direct, it actually means those who are enjoying that service are the ones paying for those services. Under this type of service, we have housemaids, we have entertainers, we have barbers, we have steward like you have here, and many others. So when we talk about indirect services, it actually talks about those services we enjoy, but they are not rendering that services to us in person. We are not the ones who hired them, which means it includes services rendered to the general public, but they are not paid for by the members of the public directly. Like I mentioned earlier, you are not the one who hired them, so which means you're not the one paying them directly, but it is a form of service that you enjoy, but you are not the one paying for them. Usually governments do. So the government will pay from taxes that we are paying and levies. So they pay them from all those taxes you and I pay. So indirectly, we are enjoying that services, but we are not removing that money from our purse directly to pay them. So therefore, those involved in rendering indirect services and are paid indirectly by the public. Examples of such occupation is doctors, especially doctors from public hospitals. Yes. We have the police force, we have soldiers, we have custom officers, many others. So what are the factors that determines the type of occupation? Yes, the climate and the climatic and weather differences. Depending on your climate condition and the weather we have around it, determines if you go abroad, there are times that they will have summers, they will have winter. So those kind of seasons or weathers define the kind of job the people engage in. We have natural resources. Yes, when we talk about natural resources, we're talking about if um let's say a society or community is blessed with certain natural resources, it actually modifies the kind of work they want to get engaged in. Some people will want to be extracting those natural resources, but in the absence of natural resources within a society, they might not want to get, it is not even about they might not, there won't be anything for them to extract. So that extractive part would not occur. So we have the education and skills. There are so many jobs out there that requires some certifications, that requires your level of understanding and skills and actually in order to perform your duties. So also salaries and wages plays a very crucial role when it comes to you choosing your type of occupation. So when the salary being offered or the wages offered to you isn't encouraging enough, you might not want to choose such occupation. So policies, yeah, we have policies, we have government policies, we have Even the organizations themselves, they have different policies. So the policies might not work with individuals. So we have hazard. So there are some industries or organizations that the nature of what they do is actually no. It's actually terrible. Maybe because of the type of work they do there actually makes it hazardous. So there are some other factors too, which is internet. We have the ability of the people. Yes, that's under the skills. So on this note, I want to say thank you so much for listening and catch you up with you later. Bye.